Jack Mason walked home after work, his bag slung over one shoulder. The sun was setting, and the city lights were starting to blink on. This was Earth's new era time when humans and aliens lived together. Jack didn't think too much about it. He was just an engineer who fixed things and minded his own business. As he reached the corner near the spaceport street, he saw something strange. A tiny alien, no taller than a child, stood frozen at the edge of a crosswalk. She looked scared. Her eyes were wide, and her small hands clutched a rolled-up map. Hover cars zoomed past, and nobody stopped. Jack paused. She looked too small and too alone. He stepped closer. "Hey," Jack said gently. "Are you okay?" The little alien looked up. She had soft, round features, with blue skin and silver hair that flowed down her back like silk. A glowing translator badge on her chest beeped and spoke in English. "I need to cross," she said. Her voice was soft, like a whisper. Jack looked at the traffic. Nobody was stopping. The alien clearly didn't understand Earth's traffic system. "Come on," he said, kneeling. "I'll help you." The alien hesitated, then nodded slowly, carefully. Jack picked her up. She weighed almost nothing. He held her gently, like holding a kitten, and walked across the street. The car slowed as he stepped forward. A few people glanced at them, but nobody said anything. When they reached the other side, Jack set her down. "There you go, safe and sound," he smiled. The alien looked up at him with large eyes. "Thank you," she said softly. "You saved me." Jack scratched his head. It was nothing, just helping out. The alien stood quietly for a moment. Then she reached into her small pouch and pulled out a folded scroll. "What's that?" Jack asked. Curious, she unrolled it. It was covered in symbols, but the translator badge spoke again. "By the law of Mikari, I owe you a life bond. I offer you my hand in union." Jack blinked. "Wait, what?" The alien lowered her head politely. "I am leery of the Mikari. You saved me. According to our code, this means I am now bound to you." Jack looked around, unsure if he was being pranked. "Hold on. Bound? Like a married?" Leary nodded. "Yes, a Mikari marriage bond. It is sacred." Jack took a step back. "I didn't mean to. I was just helping you cross the street." Leary looked confused. "To us, that is a great act of protection. You risked yourself for my safety." Jack stared at her. "Okay, maybe we should talk about this somewhere else." Leary smiled softly. "Yes, I will follow." Jack's apartment was small but tidy. He placed a cushion on the table for Leary to sit on. She sat with her legs crossed, hands folded neatly. He made her tea, unsure what else to do. "So, Leary, how old are you? In your time, 22 Earth years." Jack nearly choked on his tea. "So you're an adult." She tilted her head. "Of course." Jack nodded slowly. "Right, just checking." Leary looked around his apartment. "You live alone?" "Yeah, not many visitors." He paused. "Now I've got one." She looked at him with calm, serious eyes. "I will be respectful. I do not want to cause you harm." "You're not causing harm," Jack said. "Just surprising me a little." Leary gave a small smile. "It is my honor to be bonded to one who showed kindness without being asked before." Jack could reply. There was a knock at the door. He opened it to find two EarthGov officers in black suits. "Jack Mason?" The taller one asked. Jack nodded. "Yeah, we need to speak with you. It's about the Mikari you assisted earlier today." Leary peeked from behind Jack. "She's here," he said, stepping aside. The agents entered. One of them pulled out a tablet and scanned Leary's translator badge. "She's a Mikari diplomat," the shorter agent said. "High rank. We've been tracking her since she entered Earth territory." Jack looked at Leary. "You didn't mention that." She bowed her head slightly. "I did not think it mattered. You treated me like an equal." The agent nodded. "That's exactly why EarthGov is interested. Her people don't bond lightly. This marriage, it has political weight now." Jack sighed. "Of course it does." The taller agent continued. "Earth is forming alliances. The Mikari are peaceful but important. And you, Jack Mason, are now bonded to one of their own." Jack stared. "So what happens now?" You're being invited to join a diplomatic mission, the agent said. You'll travel with Leary across several sectors. Earth needs someone to represent this new bond. Jack blinked. Me? I fix engines. And now, the agent said with a serious tone, you're also humanity's best chance at peace with the Mikari. Jack turned to Leary. She looked up at him with quiet trust. I never expected this, he said. Neither did I, Leary replied. But I trust you. Jack Mason sat in a quiet room inside a secure EarthGov base. The walls were white, the light soft. Leary sat on the table across from him, legs folded, her tiny hands resting on her lap. The EarthGov agent stood nearby, watching them closely. Jack rubbed his forehead. So, let me get this straight. I helped someone cross the street, and now I'm a space diplomat? The taller agent, named Agent Bren, gave a short nod. You didn't help just anyone. Leary is a Mikari of royal heritage. She's not just a citizen. She was sent to Earth as a silent observer. Leary looked up. I was to watch, not interfere. But when I got lost in your city, I panicked. Then you helped me, even though you didn't know who I was. Jack looked at her. I just thought you needed help. That's exactly why it matters, Agent Brent said. The Mikari value that. Their culture is built on peace, loyalty, and honor. Your small act has created a bond stronger than any treaty. The second agent, a woman named Agent Sarah, stepped forward. She placed a small device on the table. A glowing map appeared, stars, lines, and moving dots. This is the outer region of known space. She explained. These red marks, those are Varnock ships. Jack leaned closer. Varnock? They are a rising threat, Bren answered. A warlike species, expanding fast. They've already attacked the Mikari colonies. Peaceful people like the Mikari don't stand a chance alone. In Earth, Jack asked. Sarah replied. We're strong, but we're new to interstellar politics. We need alliances. The Mikari are the key. Bren folded his arms. You and Leary together can be a symbol. A human and a Mikari, bonded not by war, but by kindness. That's something the galaxy hasn't seen. Jack leaned back. In the chair, you want me to go into space. I fix pipes and power grids. I've never even left Earth. Leary's soft voice spoke. You don't need to be a warrior, Jack. You are already brave. You help someone small, without asking for anything. That is what leaders do. Jack met her eyes. They were calm, full of trust. He sighed. So, what exactly do you want from me? Sarah smiled. A journey. You and Leary will travel to nearby systems, meet leaders, talk peace. Show them that Earth and the Mikari stand together. And if the Varnock show up, Jack asked. Bren replied, we'll give you a small crew, a fast ship, protection if needed. But we're hoping your presence will prevent war, not start one. Jack stood up slowly. He looked at Leary. You really want to do this? Leary nodded. Yes, I want to help my people, and I want to help yours. He smiled a little. All right, let's go make some space friends. A few days later, Jack stood inside his new ship, the Unity Flame. It was sleek and silver, with Earth and Mikari symbols on its hull. The inside was small but clean, with advanced controls and comfortable seats. Jack wore a simple black suit with a badge that read, Civilian Ambassador. Leary stood on a raised platform beside him, now wearing a soft silver robe with blue patterns. Their crew was small to Earth pilots, one human technician, and one Mikari assistant. Everyone seemed unsure at first, but polite. Jack took the captain's seat. All right, folks, let's see what this baby can do. Leary gave him a small nod. Our first stop is Station Oritos. It's neutral ground, ruled by the Drexu. They trade with many species. Jack frowned. Are they friendly? They respect power, Leary said quietly. But they are not cruel. If we speak wisely, they will listen. The engines hummed. Stars stretched across the front window as the ship entered warp speed. Station Oritos floated like a dark diamond in space. Large, spiky structures surrounded it. Bright lights blinked in odd patterns. Dozens of ships docked and left in waves. Jack stepped out with Leary on his shoulder, standing on a small platform made just for her. People stared. Some whispered, The Drexu were tall, with rough green skin and slitted eyes. Their armor looked sharp and shiny. Their leader, a Drexu named Catharn, greeted them. "You bring a Mikari and a human?" Catharn asked, voice low and rumbling. Jack kept his tone calm. "We come in peace. Earth and Mikari stand together." Catharn narrowed his eyes. "The Varnic grows stronger. Peace is a dream. What can your small bond offer?" Leary stepped forward. "Hope, a future that is not ruled by fear." Catharn stared at her. "You are brave for one so small," Jack added. "She's not small where it counts." Catharn blinked, then gave a short nod. "Speak in our hall. We will listen." Inside the council room, Jack and Leary spoke about Earth, the Mikari, and the danger of the Varnic. Some Drexu laughed, others listened. Then, suddenly, alarms blared. "Sabotage in Dock 3. Shouted a guard." Jack and Leary ran toward their ship. A Drexu ship nearby was on fire. Jack spotted a shadowy figure fleeing, a tall alien in dark armor. "He's heading for the ship," the pilot yelled. Jack jumped forward, grabbing a nearby tool and chasing the figure. Leary guided him through. "ACOM device, left quarter. He's planting a device." Jack reached the figure just in time and tackled him. The alien hissed, pushed back, and ran, but not before Jack tore something from his belted transmitter. Back on the ship, Jack gave the device to the Earth GovTech. "Get this scan. Fast." The pilot looked pale. "That was a Varnic scout. He sent a signal." Jack clenched his fists. "Then we need to move. Now." As the ship lifted off, Jack looked at Leary. "You okay?" he asked. She gave a small smile. "Do I look hurt to you?" He laughed. "Not at all. You're tougher than you look." Leary nodded. "So are you?" The stars stretched once more as they left Station Oritos. Their mission had just begun, but already the galaxy was watching. The Unity flame glided through the stars, smooth and quiet, inside. Jack Mason sat in the command chair, thinking about everything that had happened. Just a few days ago, he was fixing engines on Earth. Now he was flying through deep space with a tiny alien wife and a mission that could shape the future. Leary stood beside him on her small platform. Her silver robe shimmered under the soft lights. She was calm, as always, but her eyes were full of thought. "We're getting close to the Mikari border," said the pilot. "Our next stop is the teller relay station." Jack nodded. "Good. Maybe we'll get some rest there." But Leary shook her head gently. "No. The Varnic have already moved closer. This station may not be safe." The crew grew quiet. Everyone had heard about the Varnic tall, armored warriors who believed in conquest. They didn't talk. They took dot as the ship approached the station. Jack could see smoke rising from one of the docking bays. "Damage reported on one of the outer levels," the pilot said. "Looks recent." Jack stood up. "Leary, stay close." "I will," she said softly. They docked at teller relay and stepped out carefully. The station was huge, made of dark steel and glowing panels, but it was quiet to quiet. Jack walked beside two human guards. Leary rode on her shoulder platform, her eyes scanning every corner. Suddenly, a figure rushed toward them, short, with dark brown skin and large black eyes. "Help!" the young alien shouted. "They're still here." Jack stepped forward. "Who's still here?" "Varnic spies." The alien gasped. "They attacked the upper wing and left a bomb." "My name's Tilo. I'm a Mikari pilot." Leary's eyes widened. "Tilo? From the Skywing fleet?" The young alien nodded quickly. "Yes, I was sent to warn the colonies. But the Varnic got here first." Jack turned to his crew. "Split up. Check the upper levels. Find that bomb." Tilo grabbed Jack's hand. "Come with me." I saw them drop the device near the control tower. Jack followed, with Leary still close by. They ran through the metal hallways, stepping over debris and broken glass. Inside the control tower, the lights flickered. A round black object blinked. On the wall, it was the bomb. "It's counting down," Tilo said. 5 minutes. Jack stepped forward, pulled off his jacket, and knelt beside the bomb. "I'll try to disarm it." Leary watched him quietly. "You're sure?" "I fix things," he said with a small smile. "That's what I do." He opened the panel. Wires glowed in different colors. The symbols were alien, but Jack focused. Hard, he traced the wires, remembering what he had seen on the Varnik's device back at Station Erdos. Red wire, blue chip. Green pulse. He cut one wire, then another. The clock stopped at 0:12. Everyone let out a breath. You did it, Tilo said. Amazed. Jack stood up. Let's make sure there are no more. Back on the ship, Jack sat in the meeting room with Leary and Tilo. Tilo bowed. Thank you, human. You saved many lives today. Jack shook his head. Just did what needed doing. Leary looked at both of them. The Varnik will not stop. They're testing us. They want to see if we are weak. We're not, Jack said firmly. Tilo sat down. Let me join your crew. I know Mikari space. I can fly, scout, and fight if needed. Jack looked at Leary, who nodded. He's brave and skilled. Jack extended his hand. Welcome aboard. A few days later, the Unity Flame arrived at a larger Mikari colony called the Luna Prime. It was peaceful, with tall white towers, floating gardens, and gentle music in the air. Jack looked out the window and smiled. Now this looks nice, he said. Leary gave a small smile. This is my home. When they landed, many Mikari came to greet them. They bowed deeply to Leary and looked at Jack with curious eyes. One elder stepped forward. You are the human she bonded with? Jack nodded. Yes, sir. You carry honor well, the elder said. We are grateful. Leary turned to Jack. They want to hold a feast for us, to thank you. Jack blinked. A feast? For me, for both of us, she said. That night, the skies over a lunar prime glowed with soft lights. The air smelled of flowers and sweet food. Jack sat at a table while small Mikari musicians played gentle tunes. He leaned down to Leary. This is amazing. She looked up at him, smiling. It's rare for our people to open our hearts. But you have shown us that kindness is still powerful. Tilo joined them at the table. And more Mikari are hearing of this bond. They want to help Earth now. But as the music played, a sharp sound cut through the Aran alarm. A guard rushed over. Incoming transmission from a Varnik dreadship. Everyone went silent. Jack stood up, put it through. A dark screen appeared. The Varnik commander stared with cold, black eyes. His voice was deep and rough. You protect the tiny one. That is your mistake. We are coming. Then the screen went black. Leary stood beside Jack. They found us. Jack looked at his crew, then at the Mikari leaders. Then we'll be ready, together. The skies above the Luna Prime turned dark as the Varnik ship entered the system. Its huge shadow covered part of the colony. People ran for shelter, afraid of what might come next. Inside the Unity Flame, Jack Mason stood in front of the main screen. Leary, Tilo, and the rest of the crew were behind him, watching silently. The Varnik dreadship hovered just outside the planet's defense range. It didn't fire. Not yet. Jack frowned. They're waiting. Leary looked up at him. They're testing us. They want to see if we'll run. We won't, Jack said firmly. EarthGov sent a message moments later. Jack Mason, you are authorized to take full command of Unity Flame and defend Mikari space. Reinforcements will arrive in 3 days. Jack read the message aloud, then looked at his crew. We'll hold the line. Tilo nodded. We can't let them scare us. Not here. Jack called for a crew meeting. The ship's map lit up on the table, showing the Luna Prime and the Varnik dreadship nearby. We can't beat them in a straight fight, Jack said. But we can make them think we're stronger than we are. Leary tilted her head. How? Jack smiled. With tricks, old Earth tricks. He pointed to a nearby moon. We'll lure them near that rock, make them think it's full of defense turrets. Tilo's eyes lit up. With holograms, exactly, Jack said. We'll build fake weapons, boost our signal, and make it look like a trap. The crew got to work. Over the next 6 hours, Unity Flame raced across the moon's surface. They planted metal poles with blinking lights and small speakers. They set up heat signals, false radio waves, and energy pulses. Mikari workers helped too, carrying supplies in small hovercrafts. Tilo and Leary worked side by side, their hands quick and precise. You've done this before? Tilo asked Leary. She smiled softly. Not like this, but I've read about human tactics. Jack thinks differently. That's why he's special. As the sun rose over a lunar prime, the trap was ready. Jack stood on the bridge, watching the screen. Send the fake signal. The computer sent out a wideband message. It sounded like this. This is the Aluna Defense Network. All units in position, ready to fire. From space, the moon now looked armed. The Varnik ship paused. Its scanners picked up strange energy pulses. They're confused, Tilo said. But a moment later, the Varnik fired a warning shot just above the colony. Jack took a deep breath. They're trying to scare us again. Then, another message came through. A Mikari ship damaged and calling for help was floating near the edge of the system. We have wounded, the pilot said. Shields failing. Jack looked at Leary. She nodded. We must help them, Tilo. Get ready. Jack said. We're going in. The Unity flame sped through space, engines glowing bright. Jack sat at the controls while Tilo handled navigation. They reached the damaged Mikari cruiser quickly. It was smoking. One engine offline. And sparks flew from the side. Hang on, Jack said. I'm pulling you in. He activated the ship's grappler. It extended and locked onto the cruiser. Leary watched the screen. A Varnik fighter is approaching. Jack turned the ship sharply. Brace for impact. The fighter fired a small blast, but Unity Flame dodged it, spinning left and right. Tilo launched a counter-signal, bright lights and noise to confuse the enemy's sensors. The Varnik fighter flew past and lost control, spinning out. The crew cheered. Nice work, Jack said. He pulled the Mikari cruiser safely behind the moon into the fake weapon zone. Back on the moon's surface, the false turrets blinked and buzzed. The Varnik dreadship moved closer. Still unsure if the area was real or a trap, Leary turned to Jack. They're scanning again. Jack had an idea. Let's give them a message. He activated the ship's comms and spoke in a strong, clear voice. To the Varnik, if you cross this line, we will defend. Earth stands with the Mikari. You will not break us. There was silence for a moment. Then the Varnik ship turned and slowly moved away. Everyone stared. They're leaving, Tilo asked. Jack didn't move. They know we won't run. Leary placed her hand over his. You stood tall for all of us. Jack smiled. Tired but proud. We just bought time. Reinforcements will be here soon. Later that night, a lunar prime held a quiet gathering in the garden towers. Soft lights glowed, and the stars sparkled above. Jack sat with Leary near a water fountain. Tilo stood beside them, holding a small medal given by the colony. Leary looked up at Jack. You were brave today. I was scared, Jack admitted. Courage isn't being without fear, she replied. It's standing firm anyway. Jack laughed softly. You're wise for someone so small. She smiled. And you're strong for someone so new to all this. Tilo grinned. I never thought a human would lead us. But now, I'm glad it was you. The stars outside the Unity flame were still and silent. But inside the ship, everything felt tense. Jack Mason sat at the command chair, looking at a new message from EarthGov. Jack Mason. Your mission has changed. We believe the Varnik War fleet is controlled by a central AI system. Your team must find the source and shut it down. The future of Earth and Mikari depends on this. Jack rubbed his chin. They want us to strike at the heart of the Varnik. Leary stood beside him. It's dangerous, but it might be our only chance. Tilo nodded. If we take out their control system, the rest of their ships will be lost and confused. Jack looked around the room at his small crew. Then, let's do it. Let's end this war before it starts. The Unity flame entered deep space. Far beyond Mikari territory, few ships ever came this far. It was cold, quiet, and full of empty stars. Leary pointed to a dark corner on the map. Here. This area is called the Black Expanse. Varnik ships are hiding there. Tilo added. There's something else. Strange signals, like broken messages and static. That could be the AI hub. Jack gave the order. Take us in slowly. No lights, full stealth. The ship moved forward like a shadow. The crew whispered as they worked. Nobody wanted to make a sound. Soon, the Unity flame reached a giant metal structure floating between two dead moons. It looked like a broken star, with long black arms and a red glowing core. Jack stared. Is that their control center? Leary nodded. Yes, that's where the AI lives. Jack gathered the crew in the planning room. He pointed to the structure. This whole thing is controlled by a machine brain. We need to get inside and upload a virus, something old, something human. It might confuse their systems, Leary asked. What kind of virus? Jack smiled. A simple Earth computer worm. I have one saved from when I was in school. Tilo raised an eyebrow. You kept a virus from Earth school. Jack chuckled. It broke every school computer in 1 minute. Now let's see what it does to a Varnic war network. The plan was risky. Jack would take a small pod, sneak inside the AI core, and plant the virus. Leary would guide him through a headset. Tilo would stay on the ship, ready to fly fast if things went wrong. Jack suited up, placed the chip in his pocket, and looked at Leary. You sure you want to stay connected during this? He asked. Leary placed her small hand on his. I will be with you, always. Jack entered the pod. The doors closed, and the small craft launched quietly toward the giant black structure. Inside the core, everything was dark. Metal walls curved like ribs around him. Strange lights flickered on the floor. Jack stepped out, holding a small device in one hand and a flashlight in the other. Leary? He whispered. I'm here. Her voice came through his earpiece. Turn left. There's an access panel. Jack moved slowly. He passed strange tubes and pulsing wires. The air was cold, and the walls buzzed. There it is, Leary said. Jack opened the panel and plugged in the chip. The screen blinked, uploading virus, 10%, 20%. Suddenly, alarms rang out. They found you, Tilo shouted in his ear. Varnic drones incoming. Jack drew back. He couldn't leave now, not until the upload was done. 30%, 50%. A loud bang shook the hallway. Metal drones rolled out of the walls. They had long arms and sharp tools. Jack grabbed a loose pipe and swung hard, knocking one drone back. Another jumped at him, but he ducked. 80%, almost there. Leary's voice called. Jack kicked one drone away and stood guard over the panel. 90%. Done. He pulled the chip out, turned, and ran back in the pod. Jack panted hard, sweat on his forehead. He launched back to the Unity flame, chased by two drones. Get ready, he shouted. Tilo opened the pod doors, and Jack jumped inside just as the drones crashed against the outside. The ship sped off, leaving them behind. Did it work? Tilo asked. Jack turned to Leary, who was staring at the screen. She smiled. Yes, their systems are crashing. Look, the giant black AI core blinked, glitched, then exploded in a flash of white light. All across space, Varnic ships started drifting, turning, and losing power. They're disconnected, Leary said. We did it. Jack fell into his seat, breathing hard. That's one way to end a war. 3 days later, back on a lunar prime, people celebrated. The stars above shone bright, and soft lights covered the city. MECARI leaders stood beside EarthGov representatives. Jack and Leary were called to the stage. The Mikari elders stepped forward. Today, a human and a Mikari stood together and brought peace. Not with weapons, but with courage. Everyone clapped. Jack looked down at Leary, who stood proudly on his shoulder platform. She smiled at him. You saved us all. He shook his head. No, we saved each other. That evening, the two sat quietly by the garden lake. Tilo joined them, laughing as fireworks lit the sky. What now? Tilo asked. Jack looked up at the stars. We keep moving. There's more out there. More people who need help. Leary nodded. We'll go together. Jack smiled. Across stars, across space, me and my tiny wife. Leary laughed softly. And your big heart. The Unity flame floated in space, silent and steady. Jack Mason stood at the window, staring at the stars. The mission had changed him, from a simple engineer on Earth to a leader in the galaxy. He had learned much, but now a new challenge waited. A massive Varnic dreadnought appeared on the scanner. It was larger than any ship Jack had seen. Its black hull was covered in sharp spikes, and red lights pulsed along its sides like angry eyes. "It's coming for us," the pilot warned. Leary stood beside Jack, her small hand resting gently on his arm. "We can't outrun it." Jack clenched his fists. "Then we fight." The crew prepared for battle. The Unity Flame was fast but lightly armed. They needed a plan. Jack gathered everyone in the control room. "Listen, we can't win by strength. We have to use our heads." Tilo, the Mikari pilot, nodded. "We still have the virus. We can try to use it to crash their systems again," Leary added. "And I can use Mikari technology to help. My people's ships can hide in energy fields." Jack smiled. "Good. Let's do this." The Unity Flame moved toward the dreadnought slowly. Jack activated the ship's cloaking field, hiding them from enemy sensors. Leary worked on her console, sending energy pulses from the ship's Mikari device. "Ready," she said. Jack launched the virus through a hidden signal beam. The dreadnought systems flickered and slowed. Lights dimmed. The huge ship began to lose control. "Now," Jack shouted. The Unity Flame sped forward, weaving through space like a dart. The crew fired small missiles, aiming for the dreadnought's weak points. The big ship shook. It fired back, but the missiles exploded far away. Suddenly, alarms rang. The dreadnought's weapons came back online. Jack dove the ship into a tight loop, avoiding a blast that would have destroyed them. Leary held tight. "You're doing well." Jack laughed nervously. "Thanks, I'm trying." The battle raged for what felt like hours. Jack's hands were sore from holding controls. The crew worked as one. But soon, the Unity Flame's engines began to fail. "We can't keep this up," the pilot said. "We need to retreat." Jack looked at Leary. "You go?" "I'll stay and hold them off." "No," Leary said firmly. "We do this together." Jack shook his head. "If you leave, you survive. You can lead the future. I'll buy you time." Leary smiled sadly. "You're my husband. I'm not leaving you." Jack took her hand. "Then let's finish this together." Jack and Leary used every trick and tool they had. Leary sent stronger energy pulses, making the dreadnought systems glitch. Jack fired missiles and launched surprise attacks. The big ship weakened, slowed, and finally began to retreat. The crew cheered. Jack smiled, tired but proud. "We did it." Leary hugged him tightly. "You are brave, Jack Mason." Jack kissed her forehead. "So are you." Back on Earth, the news spread quickly. The tiny Mikari woman and her human husband had stopped a great war. Earth leaders offered Jack command of a new fleet, exploring unknown space. At a great ceremony, Jack held Leary's hand as they stood before thousands. He spoke clearly, with pride. "She may be tiny," Jack said, "but she is the biggest part of my life. Together, we are stronger than any enemy." Leary smiled and whispered, "And together, we will reach the stars." Later, in the quiet of their home, Jack looked at Leary. Who would have thought a simple act helping you cross a street would change everything? Leary laughed softly. "Sometimes, the smallest kindness changes the biggest worlds." Jack smiled. "Ready for our next adventure?" Leary nodded. "Always." And so, the tiny alien wife and her Earth husband looked out at the night sky, dreaming of stars yet to explore.